Hello guys, I hope I'll finish this one very soon and it's not gonna be 3.5 hours. Not even an hour, hopefully. But I just realized since yesterday I was fighting with that later. After I finished the video, I was fighting. I wasted my time and in the morning I decided to look it and print some values and I was at those rare cases for a programmer where you really think at this point, whoa, I found a compiler bug or something. And there are this case, not the case where there is a strange bug that there's something that it's like you write 1 plus 1 equals 2. 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's the thing. And it gives me back 3. It's so basic, so simple, that it's not that I underlook. It doesn't write 1 plus 2 equals 3 and my mind have seen 2 and 1. I see carefully. I have something that is 2 lines of code. I'm like, I'm doing this, then that. And it's so in front of your face that you think, whoa, the compiler is generating wrong code. I found a rare compiler bug. Now, it doesn't help that on the 3DO, the ARM C compiler had always some issues with, I don't know, the 3DO libraries and which are just binaries and they are compiled with different argument. At least that's what I heard. So it doesn't help that for some reason when I work with the 3DO compiler, I'm so scared that I tend to believe if something is wrong, it has to be the compiler. But most of the times it's not. So now I had some case where, besides wasting my time in the morning, I was printing out stuff and changing stuff and printing other stuff, and I'm like, what the hell? This is totally not my fault, and it ended up being my fault. I stopped working. I went out in the city. I went for a walk, and then it hit me, and I was face palming in the road. So I have a very classic case, and that makes me think. I had some cases where I concluded the compiler is producing the wrong code. There is no point. It's in front of my face, it's so obvious, and I never examined these cases fully. I must see if I kept one case and simplify the code. Because you might have the case, but it's this programmer phenomenon that you think you are in the twilight zone. The other thing, your logic doesn't matter. Your logic is perfect in your code. Because the bug is not something non-obvious. The bug is it's so obvious that you have proven the compiler is broken. Which, yeah, compilers are not, sometimes they are broken, but it's very rare. It's very rare. And I found, but it feels strange because you're like, please investigate more. Don't go outside and ask people to fix their compiler because you're going to become a joke. You know, if it was something so obvious that, and you went along to say, hey, you broke the compiler, and it was something so obvious. And at the end, this one it was obvious, but not exactly. And oh my god, my mind. Now, in the previous, let's close all that crap. At least in the previous video, okay, there were more things that I fixed. There are more things, so I did fix some stuff, and the underlying structures. The thing is, I will not be able to get the. Actually, what happened was this. at some point and close. And I realized if I would load the mesh, I would, no, here, I would subdivide. Let's then make the subdivide once. Okay, if I don't subdivide, it might break even now, actually, because I made some changes. Oh, no. Okay, it doesn't crash, but... Oh, okay. So everything goes very slow now, because something still is wrong. But because I changed something, because I... Is it here? This would be needing some shell stuff. It was that one. I separate this thing I do with the texture shifts. I now call it from here and here because it's basically the same. I want the subtext width to take place. It used to be the text width. Now there is no text, so I'm gonna say poly text. Oh, there is no mesh. Okay, I can demonstrate, but originally this part down here would use the texture width and height, which is the texture and not the subdivided. Now, see here, fuck that shit. I don't think I need this anymore. Now, when I procedurally generate, set all poly data. Is it here? I have the extra tables where I was changing the texture ID and everything, and I added those, and those were having some problems. And this will call update poly data, which I have a lot of the print debug. I really have to see how to print out on the Opera, debug Opera. Because now I have some helper functions in my main. Just on the effect. I'm saying display debug numbers with false or true. At some other place I have a list. This is on tools. So here is the same place where I have the draw number, display FPS, display mem. So because there wasn't a way to printf unless I print out on debug and it displays on the 3DO. I'm gonna look at this later on the Opera. And it's tedious because this is using the cell with the fonts. It's not easy to... You can just try to printf all over the place. So this is during the rendering loop, render my code, and then on top I will display stuff. Now false means because I display, this happens once in initialization, but if you put true, what you have given to print it will be cleared and there will be no more things. But if you say false, it's like keep the list and display it the next time. Because if you initialize and print once, you want to display them later. Now, if you are printing something in real time, like the player position all the time, you want to set that to true. So it's a bit awkward. I can't just put some print here, and I have to set up or call that so that it set up something on another place, so that if I print the thing, this one is not printing right now. This one is adding strings, numbers and strings, actually numbers. It's adding on a list for later printing at the end. So it's populating a list every time I call it. And I will do this one. By the way, this one will do something that it will crash later. It alters the subtext width and height, and the subtext width and height will later change. So if subtext width is 256, then this will give 8 bits, so that it knows to do shift 8 something. When I update the map cell in real-time rendering, I don't have to calculate every time from the texture the bit shifts to optimize the map cell. It might not be necessary, it's the way I do things. It's hard to, and I even put slotted here, but I realized that because this is coming wrong and they might come 0, the cell is trying to do things with a 0. I mean, it's a 0 shift, so it doesn't do shift, and the vectors are enormous, or something else happens somewhere else because I'm passing the wrong stuff. And why? Because this didn't work. And in the first stage, I get the full texture width. This is for every mesh. And I set the subtext width and subtext to be the same, because the subtext will be used to know the actual texture width and height from the, if it's going to take a subregion. If it's the full texture, is that okay? That it's the same. If it's the same, it's the full texture. But later in the subdivision, in the second, that's why I wanted to keep the original texture width for reasons. Get from the source poly the subtext width and height, and this is the destination poly divided by 2. So if that was 256, it will go 128. Then it will go in the second iteration 64. So you subdivide. You know that I have to get one half and 1/4 of the texture with those width and height, and calculate also the offsets for its subdivided polygon. So I wanted to have that, and it wasn't helping to have. Couldn't I use the original texture width? No, because this always needs to be 256, because we calculate the total bitmap and the sub window bitmap in the cell. You still need the original one when you call prepare cell or update cell, you know. So something was going wrong, and initially I tried to investigate, and here we are. I'm going to print. Let's start with that. Subtext height. You might see many numbers. We can actually print debug I, so that you see. And okay. First of all, this is still gonna crash. Is it gonna crash? Unless should I add this to the world? Now I'm going to note to disable the teapot so that we don't get the extra, because it's gonna print more stuff. This might be called from the teapot. I'm not sure if this will crash. We still crash. I'm just showing you, and I still take a lot of time to show you the mistake I did. No, at least it doesn't crash. Also, it comes, okay, the first 0 is the polygon 0, 1, 2, 3, 5. And it goes there. And it has 0 and 0. Like, what the hell? And then I was like, okay, What is, I even printed the pointer. The pointer is fine. What is the text width and text height? Oh, 256, 256. Oh, whoa. And I couldn't see something obvious, of course, but at that point I was so so annoyed that I was like, okay, here the text width and text height is 256, and I'm putting it in the subtext width and subtext height. If you remember the types of the subtext width and height, you will realize already the mistake. I just couldn't see it because it wasn't here, and my mind goes, the compiler is broken, I'm not passing the data somewhere else. But I ended up here, like here it's text width, text height. After here text width and subtext width, or let's simplify it. If these are 256, then these are put here. So this should be 256. And I was like that, I was like, this wasn't the first place I was searching. I was printing stuff in other places. I was like, why are these coming 0? And like, okay, the text width, text height is 256, and the rest is 0. So these are 256, and we pass this to the subtext width, poly subtext width, and we print that, and it's 0. What the hell? It goes to that point that, you know, it's like you say A is 256, print A, 256. B equals A, print B, 0. And you're like, wait, what? It felt like this. It felt like, oh my god, I have the phenomenon where the compiler is broken. And I was thinking like this because I have PTSD from this compiler. You know, when you build something, this was never solved. It's still small, the font. You get some warning that have nothing to do with my code. I never solved it. Global camera multiply define. Okay, that's another thing. I have to see that. And there is something on C startup and then you have this attribute warning, and we talked about it. Flea update. Is it just on the flea update thing? With just one of my code? Or is it cell utils? There might be more. Chain cells. And we kinda know what that is. We have talked. It is the fact that the current compiler I'm using to build everything, it has one calling convention. And some of the libraries in the 3DO dev, you know, especially those that you just have the binaries, you don't have the code. There are some includes. These might be auxiliary libraries. I don't know. We're using a different calling convention, and I know there is a place where we have a linked opera, and some of these libraries might actually be something that you could build, but it takes a long. One has to study, so I didn't go there because someone would say, if you have such serious problem with the compiler, how can you work? Why not try to port, I don't know, GCC for the 3DO or something, or try to. The thing is, it might need an enormous. It's out of my league right now, and I'm not doing it. But at the end, it's not bad. because usually it's this. So if I thought, okay, if I have such a problem with the compiler, it's rare. It's 1 in 10. Maybe it's not 1 in 10. Maybe it's 1 in 100. Maybe it's 0 in 100. And I didn't have or felt like I had such a problem for a long time. I was writing a lot of code. It's very rare. And I will try to find. Long time ago on our Discord, of course it's not. I would print possibly on the dev channel. Very high. I would print. Here is a snippet of code that I'm trying to do something very simple and it fails and it seems like it's the compiler. You know what I mean? And that one I never found out if it was me. I looked at it from one angle, from another angle. But this one, which is simpler, I found it's simpler now that you know. It didn't seem simple. It was like, what is it? And you know, the rule is that it's good to have 4 arguments. 4 arguments in those 2 different calling conventions, which I don't even know which is which, is gonna be handled the same. It's a problem when you have a 5th argument or more, which is not a problem because I have this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. This has 6 now. I added this one. This is another thing I fixed. First, I had this problem with the skybox because of not passing the texture very early, so that I can get the text width and text height properly. But this was shadowing another problem I had that would still make the code fail. But I think is I try to not use. Maybe you have to make some struct. Maybe I have to put this in a struct, but then I can't pass instantly the values. I will have to declare the struct, enter the values, and send the struct. While here I'm calling init mess parenthesis numbers. I would have to do things 2-3 lines above. That's the annoying thing. That's why sometimes I prefer to have a function with more arguments. Because in some cases, if you make a struct, in one case you can say init mess for 812. In the other case, my new struct fuck A equals fuck B. Or maybe you can make a function, populate init mess fuck and the other. See, that's why it's like, oh, it would be good to not have these long ones. And I mean, maybe in C++ you can say init mess, or maybe in the later C++. Definitely with a constant. I mean, you can say populate fuck. But I don't know, it becomes, when you just put numbers in order without having to pre-create structs. Now I have the texture struct, but this has to be a texture, okay? So there are some places where I use more than 4, but usually it doesn't create a problem. The thing is, it doesn't always create a problem. Now that's the theoretical idea we have. The theoretical idea is, if ends in mess, maybe. When you init the mess, you call, you have to call alloc mem. That is. See, I'm even say that. I'll just put a temporary. We'll alloc later. Change things in the file usage. So I forgot. Afraid to do alloc mem inside now because compiler issues might emerge again. And maybe they did. Maybe unless it was by mistake, maybe I did that. I allocated, I did stuff, and things crashed or there were issues. There were wrong data. Totally wrong data. If you get me. But maybe if I replace it now and do it properly. This is not good because I'm taking memory. And I have to see why do I need a temp buff source. Because I'm reading stuff from file in a buffer so that I later do something with the buffer. It might have been more convenient. There are so many stupid things. You see, I have comments all the time about it. I realize that now they told me you might be getting problem because of that and this has to be fixed. We talked about the compiler flag that didn't work for me. It was giving an error, or maybe it works in the C++ compiler, and at some point I tried to port my code in the C++. I might have managed to use that flag. I don't know if it did anything, but the problem was the same with an order, not with this one. So now I'm again talking. Where is the thing now? Where is the fucking thing? We have this problem here. Now it's this one. Now I'm in this one. It goes my fault all along, always has been. Because of the rule. 99.9% of the time. If you have established something so obviously wrong in the code generation or something, it's your issue. And you know what? Okay, let's go to what it goes. Of course, before that, there were two problems. And I fixed the other one, but I was so tired that I couldn't see the other problem. When I fixed the previous problem was that when I'm generating, this is too long, I don't like it now. I would come here and say ms text equals text. I would put the texture at the end because I didn't want, at the time I didn't want to, I have to go after the init ms text is here, put it here. I would duplicate all over the place. And so now I expanded the init mesh goes like that. Init mesh goes like that. It wasn't taking the text. I expanded it so that I do it like that. Because later, in some cases, at least in the skybox, I will call this one prematurely. Update polytext. Actually, I see another problem. Whoa. See, that doesn't work like this. I think I should be splitting that. I don't know if make separate function for this, but then you have a bunch of functions. Because now, okay, first of all, here, and this one would read text with text height, but if I didn't populate it, it was a problem. But now, with my print debug, it is populated. So that was problem number one. But after this problem, I came to this conclusion that the compiler was broken, which is not. Because. And I was face palming because I wasted. Now I'm repeating myself. And I do that for myself. I do this to just rant about things, and I know some people like to watch. I thought my channel is very boring the way I'm doing it. I should be finishing videos in 20 minutes, not 3 hours. But this is like, okay, I'm just running again. So it took how many minutes to go to the conclusion? Because I came here and I say, what if my structs are screwing this up? And I made everything, but the reason I made it char is because those poly data are a lot of data. It's if you have 1000 polygons, it's 1000 times this. So I'm putting too much in memory, and that's why these are char, And that's why this text shifts has both width and height, because the bits are from 1 to 50, to 0 to 15. Because if your texture is 256, it's going to be 1.8 later for some vectors to subtract from some other vectors and do some kind of optimizations in the map cell function. But no, normally you should say text width bits, text height bits. But first of all, these were 3 bytes. I wanted to be aligned. I wanted to be, those are 4 aligned bytes to be 32-bit aligned, because who knows, if you say unsigned char, that's totally making this whole thing unaligned, and I don't know how the compiler does. Okay, maybe you should have gone with ints, but now this is 4 times more. But at some point I'm like, what if the compiler, my mind was still in this model. What if the compiler confuses the structs? And because it's not an indent, it's a char, it misreads that value or something. And at first I ran it and I'm like, oh wait, that, okay, again, if you change the header file, you have to clean, else it doesn't know that things have changed. Again, think about it. I was at this stage, but I have already shown you the stupid thing. And I'm like, I do that random thing. Oh, 256 everything. What? And I was on that stage. The compiler doesn't know how to handle structs that have unsigned char instead of all int. Okay. And I was like that, oh no, it's a big problem. If the compiler is doing that shit, we are fucked. But then I was frustrated and I was walking outside and I facepalmed myself. Of course I wanted to escape and go to some cafeteria and read a book or something. So I didn't immediately run back to fix it. I'm like, fuck. I wanted to read my book. I wanted to forget about that. And now I will have to remember for the entirety that I did a very basic mistake. But because of the frustration, I mean, there were other bugs that were hiding the fact. Because maybe before I corrected adding prematurely in init mess texture text so that it prematurely takes the texture with the texture width and height and everything. Before fixing this one, so that was an overshadowing bug. I would go at some point and say, this is the 256 skybox. How about trying the 128? But I did that early and I wasn't even printing values. That's the other thing. I wasn't printing values. And I think it didn't work at the time because I wasn't even passing the texture. But that was hiding. It would have worked if I passed the texture. It would have worked. It's 128 because now it's obvious. Okay. Somehow, I didn't thought that I'm passing this, which is 256, to this. And because I wanted to be clever with memory, this was a char. No! You dumb idiot! I spend all the time thinking the compiler is broken because obviously, if I had a code that read like that, I'm not someone who doesn't know basic binary and all that stuff and data types. If I had print B 256, print A, I could be like, oh, but damn it, you are putting the 256 in HR. 256 is 0 in SHR. You know, 0 to 255. That's so obvious. I wouldn't be spending hours of my time, but I was misled because, first of all, previously it didn't work for other reasons. It didn't work because I also didn't pass the text. So here, if this was pointing at something different and it was doing it. And later, being so frustrated, I was printing and I didn't realize. I was like, okay, you see what I've done now. It's so frustrating. It is not. You can have, as a programmer, you can have experience. You might say you are inexperienced, you haven't, or you were obsessed about your data structure being too small to fit in memory, or something else, or you don't have the writers. But I think you could have a very knowledgeable programmer. It happens. The thing is not the mistake. The thing is you could have some knowledgeable programmer waste his entire day or week for such a thing. It happens. And your mind might be so confused and so misled, maybe because of previous experiences with the ARM-CC, which now I'm thinking maybe those experiences were also because of something stupid I did, but it was so obvious then. It was like, come on, I'm having this value and now this value. What happens? It was of a different kind. I have to find that old experiment that it was such an obvious code that it would fail. And in that one, if I moved a variable declaration higher or somewhere, even in the same scope, or if I change something that has nothing to do, suddenly things worked. And I think I was printing values, so maybe that was a broken compiler thing. And especially if I some function in each cell alloc mem that are from the binary libraries that are supposed to not be compatible with the same arguments. So if you call a function that is passing more than 4 values, and maybe that's where I maybe have seen it, you are calling other functions that are on the 3DO API, maybe. I still haven't figured it out. It would now I have to call alloc unless I do some way my own allocator. But that's why I slowly started to create my own functions for cell. Because for those one I was also using link cell, for example. It's very simple. But there is a link capital cell which is not, it's the one on the 3DO API. But it's very simple. This one, there might be an update, maybe with different argument. But their version, although it's on the auxiliary 3D library, it's not in the original. Their version is wrong. It's really doing the wrong things. I have figured it out. The create cell, those are things that are taking the basic structure and doing stuff with it. Maybe sometimes allocate it. So I started rewriting some of the stuff for me so that I avoid using as much as I can 3DO API function. Now, unfortunately, there are some file loading function and this with capitals. Oh, I don't see it. It's not here. Okay, I'm calling them out. There are some file. I'm having my own function that are calling them. So the only thing I haven't changed is the allo. So this is not my function. Because I don't know how, in low level, how you can. I could in high level allocate a huge amount of memory and then use it as my own memory pool where I will handle small allocations. So that at least if this happens in the beginning and not later, because it's later that I have function that calls function and some of them over for arguments that end up in a big tree to do something else with things. And I'm so pissed. The problem, I have to finish this was that. Now the thing is, I'm going to waste memory if I put this like this. Now, one idea was to put it short, but short is not ideal. However, as I said, in my make file, I have this one. If you don't have this one and use shorts, you're gonna have compiler errors. Because this might do your code a bit slower if you use shorts. And I think because this ARM processor doesn't have a load sort, it has load byte and load word. And for load sort it needs to do some extra, else maybe it injects code that is not supposed to be there. I don't know. So I know you can go with it, but now that means that sort are handled with more instructions in some way. Depends. I'm gonna go with that. So this one is going to be 3 words instead of 2. Fine. I'm not gonna go with int at the moment. And I made thought about the general design. Let's see if we get all 256 because 256 finally is fitting on, and I could even have 1024. Last time I said no, I'm making it. I'm not gonna have bigger textures. There's no point. But now, you know what? Maybe I have, because I can subdivide the huge. I could make an example with a huge texture. I could make an 1024 by 1024 texture, probably 8-bit though, so that it fits. Because that would already be 1 megabyte. And I could, that would be an idea. But that would be subdivided in smaller textures. Maybe I could make something like the mega texture thing. That would be an idea. With the Nintendo 64 mega texture thing someone did recently. And now that I have sort for textures, oh boy, this is so okay. I guess we go, and the thing I'm thinking is the mesh tract becomes bigger. We added the so besides the vertices, the indices, the normals, we wanted to hold extra information per polygon that will be used in the cell creation or even later if we change something and update the cells. Because first of all, we have 3 or 4 points, 3 or 4. But the triangle is really a quad with 2 points meshed together. We gave the ability to have multiple texture on multiple palettes. One could scroll through them. We want to keep those textures, even if it's a packed 4-bit packed version. 16 bits would be... This is for power of 2 texture. Or 15 bits, it will be 2 in the power of 15. So something like this big, which we don't even have. This isn't going to go more than 2 in the 10 or 2 in the 11. So 4 bits are enough. And to not have to misalign this, I did that. Now this doesn't misalign because it's 2 shorts, and 2 shorts is 1 word, 2 words. But the idea is, I have this idea that most of the stuff I create, I just call set all polydata with default values. For most of the stuff, usually it's 4 points, usually it's quads. Usually this is always 4, this is always 0, always 0. I have one texture. Only the texture sheet, but if I have a single texture, if I have a simplified mesh, it's like I want to make a mesh and an extended mesh or something, or maybe not that, but then you have to duplicate function, or I want to make, I mean, you can, okay, I have an idea. One way, now I'm talking about future design thoughts, because if I have a lot of mesh, this polydata is not needed by most of the meshes. If you know that every polygon has the same number of points, has one texture only, so you always get the first texture, and one palette or no palette, you have to update this. But this one, if it has one texture only, those can be calculated once at some other place, and they don't get a sub-region. So most things out there will not need to use this. You will not need to this will not need you will not need to allocate this one. In reality, some texture you will not need the polygon normals necessary. So maybe I could have meshes that do not calculate all this, and you could have a poly data pointer that points to a single poly data, and this could be 0. Actually, no, you need the polysnum for the iterating through the cells. And you would have something else, maybe some defines. That tells you it's a simple mesh, and you don't need to look at iterate through this. You just need to get the first point once, and you have the values for every cell. Maybe I can do some, but then it becomes very. It's things that I decided myself, and someone else uses my. It's like things that I know that they go like, and they might not be obvious. Because this is growing up, and I don't like it if I have bigger meshes and a lot of meshes. And because previously I tried to hack the memory to use char and I was still adding, and now I have to add more. And maybe that's the idea I could work with. It could be some, the mesh has a render type actually, but it's really, the render type might get a lot of this. You can have a mesh option which could also be put on the default. Maybe mesh option simple single poly data. So there is no allocated poly data array with for every polygon. There is one object, then the pointer will point to that one, and based on that you will know, okay, I read that and it's the same for every polygon. It's not, because I have to go with that, and maybe I will add more. And sort is not the best. If I do something with that in real time, if I do an initialization, fine, okay, it's no big deal. And now you know. Now, for the rest of the video, I hope we don't have issues because I'm tired. And I told you what the problem was. For the rest of the video, I have to correct everything I did because my code is now a mess. Literally speaking and metaphorically. And I have to correct, and I lost it now. Okay. Maybe we should keep the print debug because things could still go bad. Okay, I can remove it because I can put it back. So now this one, which we still have to be careful, set all poly data. And set all poly data is something that I only call see, the other problem I have is the logic has become so convoluted, like something calls something else. So I create this mess, and if I don't prematurely first init the texture and then something else and then something else, it all falls apart. And that is not good. It's not a good design there. Although I tried. Now load mesh does it. And you see, the load mesh gives it's for triangle. Because right now my load mesh loads some purely triangle, like the teapot. And they are flat shaded, so you don't see that they are with texture. It would be horrible. It wouldn't work. And then the procedural generation, for every different object I generate, at the end I set polygon, and usually it's quads, always 0, 0 the texture. This is triangle because it's a cube tri. It's a cube based on triangles. Maybe I did this for the software renderer. Because there I was going with triangles. And the rhombus thing, the prism. Here I do it and I manually set some points after. Just here, and here for the skybox, no, columnoid. I don't do it for the columnoid. On the column of the skybox, on the column of the sky, I'm doing the work manually because this has to be more than the texture ID has to increase from 0 to 5 for every for the 6 sides of the skybox, different textures. As with the text we pass is an array of 6, and those ID have to match. And then that's the only place I later call update polytext data. Why? Because I also do it for some other place I haven't tested where I don't set. So the places where I don't call set all poly data, I do it manual because set all poly data will call this one. This is like default values, and it will always put offset UV because I'm not using the subregion for the subdivision of the texture. The corner is 0, 0, and the subtext width is the same as text width, so I equalize them so that most meshes will probably be okay. Because as I said, I'm repeating myself later, when I do update, especially in both cases, prepare cell list, I would call the set cell shifts to get these bits for my vectors. And I know I complicate things. These are things you might not need to do. It's because the map cell. But now I get the subtext width. Previously I was getting the text width. And in most meshes it's going to be same as the text width. But if I subdivide this one, I will manually read the source polygon subtext width divided by 2, so I will set it to half on the destination poly and calculate the offset based on the original offset plus this UV loop multiplied with the halved subtext width. So it goes at that point that this process was wrong because it was reading those and those were 0. And okay, now the other problem is that in this case I still have to call prepare cell list and then update mesh cells anyway, and because I have initted a new mesh and I still have to do something with it, but after I subdivide it and create the whole thing I have to call it, so I can do this before, but this could invalidate some of this. Also now let's see if there's something else. You have the set cell, there might still be a problem, okay. Set cell text shifts, now it's going to use the subdivided ones and not the original text width. Fine. But text, we don't get dexpal about that, text type. Here, see, we need the cell with text width and text height. And that's the final init cell. I have to see what it does. But that might be okay. Set cell BPP, we don't care. Cell type, we don't care. Or maybe we do care. Okay, BPP, does it do anything with the init cell width? Don't change the order of this for again the same problem we have. The problem of order. Yeah, because the init cell width, it might want to read the cell type. Or the BPP, especially the BPP, bits per pixel. It needs to know that. And maybe the BBP. Oh, yeah, I know. The type needs to know the BBP, isn't it? No, it doesn't. But the BBP needs to know the type. Maybe not anymore. So this can be, okay, what are we passing? We are passing, after we we changed the subtext width and height. We call prepare cell list, and the only problem, the shifts will be calculated by the sub. The real stretching of the cells, which will be the window and not the original text. But we need the original texture because there are still some things. Text with text height. So now I'm reviewing my code to see if I forgot something. And the only culprit is the init cell. Because I'm doing something after. But maybe it works. Set default cell values, okay. Okay, just the flags. That's okay, these are, okay, this is... It's okay, because later we change this on map set. This is to have the original 1x1 unscaled bitmap. Especially good for simple sprites. So I just put some initialization. In the polygons that might not matter because we are gonna change this with mapcell later before rendering anything. Init cell height. Okay. Why am I doing the height and then the width? Is this also something with order? Or I wanted to do the height and then the width? Height. Set cell height. And you have this auxiliary height, which is the original structure was adding more. Is there even the cell height needs the... I don't think so. But anyway, what do these change? Those are calling set cell height, cell width. The pre-0, pre-1 and so on. Here is the thing. But we also changed that, and the cell width also changed the W offset, and is based on the original width. Now that is fine to me, because we want the W offset. This is based on the text width, the complete width, not the subregion. Again, I'm trying to separate it in my head. And you want that the offset to always, you want the full texture bitmap to always be represented, else the subregion will be wrong. Fine. And it changes those now. Those will have W offset is okay. Am I not setting the width? Okay, then I call set cell width, which is also setting the pre-one with the actual width. This is the subregion, especially. So this is not right, but it's just a prepare. It just puts everything, but it doesn't change. And this is a big width. It's good to be this extra information. Maybe somewhere it's used somewhere. Especially, we might use it. Get data size in cell data size in body. Okay, we use it here. And that might be fine. You don't want to get the subregion data unless you ask specifically. So this is going to reset some work done. Let me think. Might not be entirely, because when we do prepare, this is going to set the cell text shifts based on the subtext width. And I did this because in the updates cell I do the same. Makes me think, would it be okay to... Might be extra. One idea is this update makes cells to call it after the prepare cell list. So, because at some places I might do it. Also, it has a different function. I guess, and maybe in the initial, although it's okay, this should be given the text width and not the subtext width. But if in the initial the subtext width is the same as the text width, who cares? Still gonna work. I did like this to not duplicate that one, to use it common. And I think it's okay because now it's set up initial, and then we can on the go also call update message so that it actually does the correct work. And there is this is something I have to rethink, rewrite, because some parts look very similar to that, some parts are different. And as I said, this is something I call after initting a mess for very default stuff. Now this is updating some things of the cell, but it might not do everything that you don't want to re-init the cell, set up the cell data, and init the cell is going to reset your, if you alter something in the cell to get the sub-region windows and other stuff. Now, the second time we do this will be, we use the subdivide. The first time, let me think about... there are so many stuff here that I assume that you do that anyway because of some extra stuff that need to be done. And it's this something, and you override it with that to fix the wrong. Because again, this setup cell is going to use the text, unless I would be passing more to it, but I don't. It's going to... I'm just running. The way is to try it. First of all, I don't even subdivide once. Okay, let's run it once. I need to finish this now. Yeah, of course you have a problem because you need to subdivide it. Let's subdivide. Let's see if things blow up or... I could even put back the teapot for all I know. And now the subdivision is going to subdivide, update the cell based on the new even the texture subdivision. Let's see, because last time something was still off. Okay, it doesn't crash, it is subdivided, but the texture is not there. However, okay, there seems to be... No, you might not be able to see that. There is a move, so it is offsetted. Okay, maybe it's just... And you have the right text, but its texture is offsetted different, but not correctly. So we are onto something. Let's see if a second subdivision works this time. And is it also scaled up? Is it the width of the texture reduced? Oh, maybe, okay, maybe that's what's not happening. Or maybe it is. And let's see if we can subdivide it even more. And maybe I can figure the way to hide some gaps. Doesn't crash, good. So we finally have subdivision. We have the 6 texture, the bottom top. 4DO goes fine, so you don't have the huge 256 by 253. You have a sub-region. This must be 32 by 32 right now here. So you don't have the slowdown on the cell. You have some slowdown, but we will see about it. Might be the CPU. But the offsetting is off. Let's put back this one. Oh, let's do this one. And the offsetting might be obvious. We'll see. It's not the same texture because look where this one is ending and this one is a bit more to the left. We must have miscalculated the offsets, or the offsets are not used right in the Windows cell. Let's first try this. We want pixel offset here, of course. Let's put, because that should be the offsets. And you see the same, of course. Let's for fun put 4 times. Is it some word thing that I'm not doing? And I'm not gonna do it here, of course. I'm gonna find the root of the problem. Let's see if with some more, because it seems like... Oh, that's it. Oh, the above is wrong. Why is the above wrong? And the below is wrong. Oh yeah, I have to see the above and below. Maybe I have to handle it differently. So what if... And I'm gonna see, because this is not the place we should be doing that. This is in pixel and it expects words. Oh, I guess... Oh, but now things are... Yeah, because of what it... You can't just do 4 and 4 all the time. Because if you do 4 and 4, then the next time it will read the source offset and it will be way off. This have to be in pixels. So we have to go... Update mesh cells. poly offset multiply by text BPP. Is there another poly offset V? That might be normal. This is the size in words. So if this is half now, 128, multiply by, it is 16-bit, I guess, divide by 32, it will give 64 words, which, if it's 128, it's right. It doesn't seem wrong here. Let's put a 4 here, or 4, let's just do that. I don't want to be a 4th episode and I'm getting tired. I need to make this work. As that's the 2 times subdivision. And then the line size in 32. Now this will change the W offset. It will be wrong. It will be totally wrong. If you mess this up, say we are messing this up, you couldn't vertically have any connection. Ah, it's still okay. You see more. And it's wrong. This is the width in pixel. This is the offset in pixels. This is the total texture width. We might be doing something wrong here. The only reason we want this, okay, I see. I see. Or is it in by, no, we wanted, I see it. Why did I do that? I got this code from another place. Hold on a minute. It's wrong. The bitmap, I store it in an unsigned char. I mean, okay, obviously this should be 3, I think. Give me the number of bytes. You know, if my width is 256 and I made bytes, divide by 8, you go back. So if you had the bitmap that is 256 bytes and one bit per pixel, so 256 bits, with shift right 3 you divide by 8, 32. Technically speaking, I mean, here, especially in the initialization, I think that would be fine, because this division, I don't need to do the shift. Now, these shifts are necessary because they are bit shifts, they are not. But this represents that I'm truly dividing by 8. It doesn't represent that I shift. And the compiler, come on, with fixed, there are things I see and I think, maybe, okay, back in the past I was paranoid, but Some places have shift because shift makes sense, like the shift for the bit packing of the. Most of these shifts make sense the way they are because they are bit offset at the particular place. But this one was shift just to divide by 8. Now I see it. It used to be that. But I think, oh, let me see, sorry. This one is on the bitmap. Even that shouldn't be working. And that's why it doesn't. But the W offset has to be. I put 8 to signify it's a. This is the line size in byte. Because this bitmap is byte, it's not int. So we want to go byte by byte. Now, the only trap... Wait a minute. I'm gonna do something else. Okay, you know what? Maybe we have to keep that. Maybe we want it to be in words. The W offset wants it in words. It wants it in words, -2. But this and this is in byte. But if this came with a value 3 or 11, this could be a problem, especially this. Because now this would be a misaligned pointer, not word aligned, and this would even crash the real 3DO if you do a misaligned. This have to be in words because all I need to do, if these are in words, I simply need to multiply them. Which could be also that. So this is like giving me the total offset in words multiplied by 4 to get the offset in bytes. And that was the mistake. I still have to keep that because of the W, and because this division, now it's not visible, it's gonna give you, it's not going to give you 2.5 words, it's going to give you 2 words. So now you truncate it. You are not going to give 10 bytes, you're going to give 8 bytes. 0, 4, 8, and the same is with below. So it's going to be clever. Now the thing is, I might have to handle things if in the future the window, there is a sub window 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, and that depends on the bit depth and everything. I have to handle those cropped bytes by altering some other cell. Maybe they are still in pre1 and pre0. There are some other ones for, you know, fine scrolling of pixels. Now I'm doing coarse. I'm going 2 pixel, 4 pixel. Actually, it's 2 pixel 4 because it's 16 bits per pixel. If I was 8 bpp, it would be 4 pixel. If I am 4 bpp, I could go at Windows 0, 8, 16, unless I also alter some other, which I will implement in the future. Because right now, I get a big power of 2 skybox and I subdivide it, and that's it. And now I think we fix the thing properly. I think. Oh no. I thought so. Damn it. Did I say? Okay, first of all, do the one subdivision. That is very unfortunate. The one subdivision works. This is still broken, damn it. Why do I have to do? Because it's reversed there. These have to be flipped. I might still finish my video. I don't want to drag it because I realize I have serious problems and I might decide to stop it, make it work, because previously I spent ages and I wasn't even there. It's 3.5 hours video and I didn't even like it. And now I have the hopes, okay, I found this stupid bug. I found this son of a bitch. So I can make it work. And now I realize there is more. There are issues with the upper lower subdivision. Why would subdividing? Fine, it's the order of things and so, but the order of things is the same. And these are subdivided perfectly. And these are, half of it is subdivided, or maybe not. Maybe even that half is wrong and the other is not. And you kinda see, this piece and this piece have to be flipped, but why? I'm using the same generic thing everywhere. What's the difference? I'm just getting. I could make hacks, but just to make it work, I could. So frustrating. I could go here where I said, because I don't know if it's that. If it works for the other places, why wouldn't it? It's not like it's upside down. It's half pieces are upside down and left right. I could go here and assume there is something more, and I say, you know what? Those two ones, fine. Do it. 6, 7, 2, 3, and see what happens. Oh, but that's going to do something else. This is going to make them disappear because they are outside. There's backface scaling, of course. It's not that. And it's hard now to see. You have to imagine in your head 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Zero, 1. Five, 4, 1, 0. This is clockwise. 0, 1, 2, 3. This is clockwise. The other are or 3, 2, 7, 6. This is counterclockwise. 0, 1, 2, 3. 5, 4. Oh, whoa. How does that even work? 5, 4, 1, 0. I think, what would that do? But that doesn't show. Is that the mistake? I hope it's that. It's still the polygons were there. No, fuck you, you don't get them. Okay, if this is not, how about we do that? This is 4, 5. Oh god. I don't like this. 1045 is... Oh god. Oh my god. Oh, I know. Four... Oh. Could be by... Yeah. I could show you what I mean. I'm just seeing it in my head. And now back there, this. Now it depends how I set it up, but if it's counterclockwise or whatever, it has to be 0. And if that side is 4, 5, 6, 7, it has to be counterclock. This is counterclockwise. But imagine it in the other side. It goes like that because if you bring it in front, it's going to be... I think it's like that. What is it? I say that counterclockwise is what you use for the visible. So it's beside. Imagine it rotates 100 degree around and it comes in front. Then it's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7. The counterclockwise. And now based on that, I have 0, 1, 2, 3 counterclockwise. 1, 4, 7, 2 counterclockwise, especially if you bring it. Or 5, I'm rotating things in my head. 5, 0, 3, 6. It might not seem, but if you rotate it in front, it's going to go counterclockwise. If this is 5, 4, 1, 0. If you rotate in front, it's counterclockwise. This seems correct. And 3, 2, 7, 6. Rotated above. It's counterclockwise. So it's okay. Now, we can keep the counterclockwise by doing things. Okay, let's comment out so that we don't miss. I'm going to rotate the values. Although that could, it might not be here the problem. But why if we follow the same division process? So does that matter? Let's rotate one more, 105. Let's see if anything of this orientation fixes it. It might, however, rotate the texture, which you don't see it here because you could, it's not, you know, it can be a problem for someone. It's not easy to work with this. If you create something and put texture, not texture coordinates, but even depending on how you define, because the order of this will define the order of how I create the cell vectors. Is gonna be upper left bitmap, and this is something I haven't. I could change the orientations. You could just get a quad and flip it, flip it, flip it. Just flip the 4 indices, very easy. I could have a function to do that for you, and you could rotate in 4 directions a texture. Now to map it the other way around, if you flip it here, you're changing the orientation, that's the other. I don't think now the problem is this, obviously. I just wondered. The problem might still be, did we make a mistake with the UV? The problem is again that you multiply U by width and V, offset U and B. One source poly. I don't know. Would it change anything if you switched? I'm not trying to fix it. I'm trying to see the behavior. I'm trying to do stupid stuff and see, okay, if you change that order, what happens? Everything changes, and this because it's the order of, okay, so but the order of how we okay, and then it's that, how do we subdivide? Because here again we play with, oh boy, what I thought if we did something in one, so we have subdivided that. I'll calculate again. Let's do something fast. And we have split it. How do we split it? We create those middle. We have the 4 vertices in order. Say that is 0, 1, 2, 3. Although we will have extra set. The original is that. is it to think that the order we do it, copy vertex 3 and set middle vertex? So the 0, 1, 2, 3 will be 0, 1, 2, 3. It should be the same. And then you insert, probably that will insert the fourth one, the fifth. It will increase. I have this B. No, it just goes to the next vertex from wherever it was. And I'm keeping track with this, B plus 9. Because B points to 0, it's the order of the vertices. So it's 0, 1, the first time is 0, 1, 2, 3. The V0, V1, the middle will be the next. So 4, 1, that has to be 5, that has to be 6. I didn't last order, isn't it? And 3 to 0. And then I get, we need another vertex, in the case of the quad, another vertex, which is the average quad vertex. It gets the 0, 1, 2, 3, and the average point is in here, of course. So it's 8. From 0 to 8, it's 9. And now we say, okay, add 0, 4, 8, 7. Again, counterclockwise, starting from the lower left. And that makes me, should I have, I might change something. Usually I define polygons like this in other engines. But the cell bitmap usually, a right way as an image, a right way to think is upper left and lower right. It could be anywhere. This can confuse the mapping. Should I change the model to clockwise? And create the from 0 to 1 and 0 to 3. Now I might be, if I do 0, 1, 0 to 3, but maybe I flip this and do it 0, 1, 2, 3, 3 to 2, and 3 to 0. Maybe on my cell generation do it correct, but we have to have some consistency, because if you create something, let's see, I go 0 to 4, 8, 7, 4, 1, 5, 8. That's consistent so far. I see the inconsistent. 8, 5 to 6. Now it goes like that. 7, 8, 6, 3. But it goes this quad, and then even the quads go. Now that, maybe that's why, because, yeah. We could change this one. Because the order of the polygons is those UV that go 0 and 1. 0, 0, 1, 0. You get me? 1, 1, 0, 1. 1, 0, 0, 0, and it's even below, so I see now. We should have added this, and this maybe, or this. And I need to decide that there are many, I can fix the loop. I can make v equals 1, v greater than 0, minus v. One thing to fix it. Now I know why this. I'm puzzled that some of the things seem right. Oh, they seem right. They're not right. I kinda can think why. and now they are broken, and this is not fixed. Because it's not the V, we'll fix it the other way. Yeah, no, what I did there was go up, down. That's not it. You have to go. Okay, the right way is that. Get that. Just add it later. So now it's quad 0, quad 1, quad 3, 4. The order matches the order of the. And I was thinking of something else. Okay. Previously I wasn't doing. Yeah, you have to alter the loop that it flips in the second. Yes. Yes. You know, those ones looked okay. The one straight looked, but you know why they look like? Because the lower part, left and right side, is very similar. Even if you flip that, you don't recognize. Oh, okay. Now I have the black. I think we got it. But it's still a bit dodgy. It's still a bit experimental. Let's see now. Skybox. Let's see if this continues well. Hopefully. Yes. You still have polygons disappearing. I'm gonna do something for that. Let's subdivide even more. I see the frame rate dropping. You always have at the edges. Maybe because, okay, I'll see about it. You see some drop. How far can we subdivide? Can we subdivide? Amazing, we can. Oh god! Also, let's run Phoenix. Let's see. With cell enable and everything. Because I think we dropped. Do we have vsync? This is vsynced also. I could say I did. I can stop. Also, I know now a lot of things that I could fix. I have the max buffers here. This is gonna be a problem for memory, maybe. Especially if we subdivide. We have a subdivide match, but first I have to write a distractor for the meshes that will manually. Okay, now we are without vsync, so we see some. And you see it's dropping. We can't even have a proper skybox, and there are still black polygons at the edges. Actually, we can. I know we can. But it's a seamless. I don't like that dot there. Let's see. Of course, these are 16 by, oh no. These are a lot. One is 2 by 2, 4 by 4 per side, 8 by 8. So this is 8 by 8 polygons per side, 6 sides, 384 polygons. I mean, it's not much, but it is. And there are two things I want to do. First of all, let's put the 128. Is it just a texture side? We were getting 22 FPS or something. Frame rate is still the same. This is the lower skybox. We need at least the 120, but I don't see bottleneck from the cell. The bottleneck comes from other things. And this is already too bad. You prefer that one. Actually, let me see. If it's smaller, the texture. Let's make more subdivision. And again, I have to create a distractor to destroy the previous one. And the distractor is not just free. I have to go through all the item and free them one after the other. Yeah, it's still. And I might know one reason. One reason is that we have a static maximum. Now, wait, did I 2 by 2, 4 by 4, 8 by 16 by, oh god, okay, yeah, of course. It's 256, okay. We have 16 by 16 at each side. Yeah, see. And that's fine. And unless we need more, let's put that. Let's see if it doesn't. If the memory is fine, let's run this one now. I want to see if it runs. Ah, see, now the polygons are not broken, but they are so small. And you still see black. I think there's a reason for that. How was I was handling this one. There are partial polygons outside, but they are handled. So why are these not handled? I'm not simply discarding. I'm going to remove the. So now you see me just experimenting with things at this point. It seems to not be an easy task to make a skybox or something. But I can think of things to optimize and fix things. It might have crashed. It's not fitting in memory. Okay, then remove one subdivision. Yeah, now I don't have the... I just want to see the speed. It doesn't even reach over 30. Because collectively the textures are very big for the system. Now if you put smaller, and then you have the subdivision, which are not... So if you are to subdivide less, let's see the performance. Let's see the performance on Phoenix. And it might, okay, it might be partially the cell. Let's see. No, it is the subdivision. I will figure out this black. You shouldn't be having them. And if you do one, because there are not many polygons, but there is a lot of rendering. Memory is already taken, I've seen it. Put the smaller numbers. I think these are the enough subdivision that you need. You don't need more, because even with the high subdivision, you have those black triangles is something I'm supposed. I think when in Bizarre Underground, when you move, if you are in a big box and you move, you don't see those far in the edge. So some mistake I can fix, and this could be enough. Now let's see. This is not, is it visible? It's not visible. Now, if you say, okay, don't account, ignore cell stuff, you get, okay, cell is playing a role, because you have big 256 texture, even if they are subdivided into smaller texture. A skybox is a big thing. And I need to see that, because this one is 2x2, 4x4, 16, 96 polygons. With 384 polygons, you're dropping 30 frames already. Weird. Because the subdivision happen in the they don't happen in real time. So what did I want to see? I wanted to... yeah, two things. And also see now. Let's put the other subdivision to make it more, and let's remove the no translate option. As I've shown you before, now it's going to be like Truman Show. You could move closer to the skybox. That's the idea. So you rotate, but you're like, it's truly Truman Show. Oh, I can move now. The skybox is a box, is a cube. Donk. And now you're on the other side, and what's going on? Or even from a distance, it's broken. It's very far away. That's truly like, I'm in the Matrix and the universe is dying. Yeah. Let's cut this. So that's why we need that. I made this enormous. Let's make. Do you think they play a role in? Let's make it a bit. Now I do wonder though. I'm not sure. Oh my. You still have a problem. I just wonder if. Okay, now I cannot move obviously. No, black disappearing polygons. I thought those were solved in Bizarro, but maybe not for such a cube. Now, here, no, when I added this option and I unified some code in the main engine now, I even commented out clamp. I need to see if. Yeah, now that's not a constant, but now I don't need to do this part. See. You still have disappearing polygons, of course, which makes sense, but I know why this is happening. I don't know if everything will be handled because I know what happens with that one. Unfortunately, I know. Now one way is to hide it, one way is to. Okay, I'll keep it as it's not that. Keep it there. Oh, there is a way. Extend a bit when it decides something is outside. There is a hack you can do. I don't want to share this hack in the edge, and I will see. Would it be? No. This is too big, by the way. Sorry, that's what I needed. Now, this is a hack, and I want to see if you wanted to hide it. Some polygons will be outside, but the cell super clip and so on will handle that, I think. The problem is with polygons that are behind. You still have a black polygon there. Oh, I know why. I don't. Oh, I know. The other thing is to detect. Now, I have some other code in Bizarro Underground. I gotta check it. Yeah, you still have it. It's less. And you see the frame rate might have dropped a bit because there is more. What if we went crazy with that? We are extending the ranges. Oh, I ran that. It doesn't matter. Run this one. Oh, wait a minute. Something is wrong. Oh, hold on. I use this for other things. Yeah, no, don't do it here. Shouldn't have been doing this here. I use those values all over the place. All I want to do is use here. I guess I'll make more. Oh my god. Yeah, a little bit of floating point doesn't harm. Here. Just put something. You see, it was altering some other values. Oh, and because it was altering some other values, now I don't see anything. It was altering other stuff, so you still go to see them. So let's do it like before. Screen width half. But I'm going to do it in another way. First value is that. You see, when I increase that, it would affect maybe the offset. What is the offset? Oh, okay. The position. The position from the center of the screen is affected in such a way that. But I use this also to find if a polygon is near the edge of the screen or not in 3D space. So now I extended that. This is a hack. It's like I can allow it to be a bit outside. It's not a polygon, it's the 3 points. I will tell you what the problem is. So no black pixels. Black quads. We cracked it maybe. So what if we go like that? Does it need a little bit of... Let's run this one. I want to make appear, make it so. Yeah, see now you have barely. We want to extend the bit, but not too much. Normally you have to do some other work. This is a hack. Do we have black now? Oh, we do. I guess 3 was fine. Actually, it's half. 160. Ah, we add the screen with half. So we make it a 180. Like 360. And the 240, it's half. 135. So 360 by 270 screen excess. And this is just some crude thing where the some of the side polygons will not. Do you see it now? Here's the thing. This is working with this subdivision. Which is already, if we go for this subdivision, which is the one we should go, I'm pretty sure, because the polygons are bigger. See, there. And I think this subdivision is good, so I want to say screen width. I can go with half. So let's find the sweet spot. So I guess if I was to make a game with the skybox, I would just do a hacky thing. Is it? It might be enough. I need to test it. I don't see. No matter what I do, I don't see. That's enough. The good thing is that subdivision works, it has less polygons. And here we get the 57 FPS. I mean, as I said, it's not easy. Partial is the geometry, although not too many. Also, I'm printing the memory, so that might be adding actually. So let's remove the memory. Oh my, this writer is no, it's just for debugging. It uses a lot of cells. I wasn't expecting this. Is it 56 to 70? Oh boy. Now, if you say ignore the cell, okay, so my geometry is fine. Oh, go. I know the text cell is not the most optimal. It's just added there for debugging. Even the first, but the FPS is just 3. Every number is a cell. Because how else could you? But I might, yeah, I might call separate times draw cells. Interesting. So this gets, let's see, 70. It depends. And I want to see, this takes account for polygons outside. This doesn't take. Still 60. A bit more there, 73. Because most are handled by the super clipping. If I take an account here, still. Because, we have some polygons that are partially outside. We could see that. Because I'm sure. These are the... we remove that, we over it. This is the cell super clipping and line super clipping. And you see in my investigations, normally I would do only this one because I found that a combination of both might be producing freezes depending on the code. But let's try the full one. Actually, remove it or do even that. It's going to make a knot, the inverse of that one. So I intentionally remove the super clipping from this geometry. From any geometry. Let's see how it affects with this enable. Now you have to see on the real video, but did we got 70 or 74? Oh boy, 46. We get 40, 49. So it matters. $36. You say 100% inside the frame. And it goes to 69, 70. So, you know, you haven't enabled super clipping in some geometry that partially is outside of the screen. When there is a difference between those two, when you put this one that takes in account and the frame rate, because you know here we have polygons disappearing. Of course, if you have a polygon that is here, a part is in, you have to, but there are some issues. So I extended the range of when I should not draw a polygon. So I'm drawing some stuff outside. They are not really drawn, but they are interpolated. The whole process happens and then the pixels are discarded. And now I see that it matters. If you disable the super clipping, that's not the only way to disable the super clipping. I have discussed that one. You can put it on the, or enable it in the cell flags. I will have to think about this one. Maybe this is the only one I should be doing, or maybe I should have maybe I should have here another define for enabling or disabling line clipping and cell super clipping or something like that. And I might use only this one, the second one, because I think this one combined with this one was producing the freezes in OpenLara and other stuff. Now this one is the more important for performance, because the other one is if a cell is completely out, which we partially handle. Actually, okay, if we enable only this one, how does the performance? It goes 38, 46. Because we have polygons that are fully outside. Actually, most of the stuff are fully outside. Ah, now it's the line super clipping. Ah, yeah, they will still be discarded. Just that the cell super clipping will insta discard. I might keep it like this. I might, because I know the other one is not safe. And just to be clear, remove the other in case someone put it. And or this one. I will have to, I can, it might be okay. Just gonna keep it like that. The other thing I want to see, since we remove the memory display, how is it if I subdivide again? Because it took some, yeah, okay, it is at 30, which was the case. So that other subdivision is killing it. Even if we were to ignore, yeah, it gives very little. Now it's the geometry, now it's so subdivided. It looks nice. The previous subdivision is much better. You get 70 FPS. So I guess Now the single subdivision is not enough. The polygons are very big. The 4x4 is better. But we're doing this trick. I don't want to have this extra thing necessary, because other geometry might not need it. And let's have the teapots. Let's see them both. So guys, now finally I did the thing. I'm going to do some improvements later. You get 71 over here. And here you have both teapot with skybox, okay. And now it shows I can go around. So do something better with the lighting, maybe put a second light source. And now it's a completely seamless skybox. I don't like this dot. I should later try other. I saw the comment of trap exit for the 3 IT that I can point it to a folder, and I have to automate this to also rename the whatever front back to single front back. I'll see. Yeah, it's good. The skybox is good for. I mean, and let's try it here. Because here it's high-res. Oh. Now it goes faster because there is no cell account for cell. But it's nice in the high-res. 640. A true skybox. I'm happy it worked. And now I'm moving away, but the skybox remains. Now if you go too far, you see that the polygons are not accurate, they are playing there with the object. Oh. Oh, whoa. I did found it again. Did I looped? I don't know. Alright. It looks better now. There is a lot of things to fix. There are some other examples I have broken by making all these changes. In my bizarro undergrunts. Let's run this one. Let's just run it. Okay, I'm near the end of the level. I have disabled lighting. Now, you have stuff left, right. Now, if you go close, okay, these disappear and these are distorted. But that's because they are close. And I have to figure some things. But if I'm not in the skybox, now I have disabled the... By the way, it's all bright. There is no moody lighting because I have disabled it for now. Just to test things. To reduce the time mappies. So it's hard to see because everything is bright, and this texture pattern, okay, it's not perfectly way. But if you add the lining, now you have now this box which you can move close to the box. Do you see when the polygons are far? Do you see in the edges, in the corners, black polygons to disappear? It's forget the close-up, but far away, because the skybox is kinda like, you hear that, but you cannot move close. Do you see here at the edges, especially here? You don't. It means that I'm doing something, but I'm curious about it because I need to see what I did. I might know. And if you go close, it's nice, but if you do that, there is a problem. I really want to make this perfect, and it's not easy on the 3D. You see it down here because it's close, but on the skybox everything is far away. And on the left right side, if it goes outside of the screen, it goes outside faster than it goes behind Z. And it's really good. You see now another disappearance here. I know what that is. This is the visibility thing, of course. The visibility rays I have pre-calculated. When you're here, it's special case. It needs to be more precise. It still doesn't understand that. Oh, I have an idea. I have an idea now of a different way to do it. But it's pretty seamless. If you don't go close to polygons, if you fly it, you don't see on the edges the polygons that are crossing the edges too. And I haven't done the same hack, but I have done something else. Yeah, I never continue that one. And I think now there is one thing I did to see if some polygons... There is a problem. If my screen is that, and say you have a polygon. Now you have quads, but let's do a quad. This quad is cross. You still have to render it. And now this quad, this point is inside. This point is inside, this point is inside. If one point is inside, it's still. But I will show you a special case. A special case is if a polygon was like that. A quad. Oh boy, this corner is still inside, but I'm checking the 4 points to decide what to do. This point is outside, this point is outside, this point is still outside, this point is still... All points are outside. But I don't know that this is crossing. That's why you see, especially with those ones, you see polygons disappearing. Sometimes you see here, but maybe you see here because you have this case. No, this point would be inside. Oh, you have some other case. I don't know what case you have. Because from what I remember, I know that if all 4 points are outside, you don't need to render. I did something crude. Here you have to see if the surface is crossing. And this is normally, okay, if you did some intersection arithmetic, you will spend time per polygon. Even this is a bit of speed, but it's just checking if 4 points. Actually, beforehand, I don't do this per polygon. Beforehand, as I said, I will mark points with outside. Is it outside or not? So I mark the vertices and not the polygon points, but the polygon point will read the vertices, so it still knows. So at least I work for as many vertices are in the scene and not polygons that will repeat. I work for polygons, but I do fewer loops to mark because many polygons share the same point. Now in Bizarro, now I'm going to open the Bizarro. I did something interesting that it took me a lot. Check inside. Okay, and I end up doing some kind of lookup table too. It ended up being okay. So these are the 4 points. And IOR. Well, that's not an outside and inside. This is something that solved most cases, and it didn't seem to have degraded the performance much. I have special cases where, just to finally explain you, I say if my screen is this, there are different cases. Inside X. Inside X is if you are here. Imagine the screen is here. Inside X means is the X coordinate in this range. So you could have a polygon that are outside here, but the X is inside. Inside Y is that, outside left. If you are here, you are outside left. Outside up, down. And I have devised some logic where outside all bits, I have devised some lookup table ends. This tells you if you're inside or outside. Yeah. Note. You shouldn't be outside Z if you are in the negative Z. You are not out behind me, and you are inside both X or Y. Isn't that inside? It's either of those. Outside all 4 sides. I might have wanted to track this region and this region, this region, this region, so that I have special case, you know, if there is a, I don't know, a polygon here, it might still be crossing, but then I would have to render a lot of things outside. So I don't think I did something so naive. I have been thinking all this logic. If any of this is true, if it's inside, it's inside. Now, inside both x and y, either it's inside here or inside here. Ah, but look, this is not a point. This is the 4 points. I'm ORing all the cases of the 4 points. It's more complicated. It's like, how to say? If you have a point that is here, inside x, and the point that is here, it might be crossing. So it's ORing the 4 points of the quad to see. There are many combinations. I must have found half overlap outside all y. Man, that must have taken a lot of thought. So I could kind of find some special cases where, you know, if a point is here and the point is here, so if one point is here in the outside x and outside y, I might say, yeah, it might still cross. So this doesn't tell you, with the 4 points and the combination, it doesn't tell you. It might be that if I have a polygon that all 4 points are here, I know there is no way it will cross. There is no way. But if a point is inside y, even if it's outside x, and inside x, even if it's outside y, it means that there could be some crossing. Of course, it could be here, it could be here, it could be not crossing, but at least. So I guess this is finding, is there any possibility my polygon, the polygon area, to still be inside, even if some points individually might be outside. So I have devised some kind of logic by splitting those. This was during the bizarre undergroup. It took me long to think it. I have devised a logic that will not make a lot of this polygon disappear. I could take this logic and put it in my head so that I don't do this other extend thing. And there are cases where if all points were on the left, all points are on the right, all points on the up or down, there is no way to cross. But if some points are on the left, but some points on the... Also, I had the case, see this case. When I went close to a wall, and the polygons were big, this is how I started it. You have a polygon, it's there. Now the player moves close, it will go here. Now you have a polygon that is definitely inside the screen, definitely. But you don't know, you know your 4 points. And the 4 points are all outside. But I could deduce with this coordinate system, if you give the cases, the separate cases of 4 points, I can see which combination are still telling me that this polygon could be inside. If all of these points, again, were outside and the polygon was all on the right side of the screen, we will know there is no way it would cross. If one point is here, it could cross, but it could also not cross. But because there is the possibility of cross, fuck it. We will. And now, initially, all this logic, check this one, this one, this one, this one, this one for the points. I would do it here, and it would be a lot of processing. Now I have made some lookup table which tells you directly by the combination of the bits. So I have all these bits that you can order them together. It can tell you faster. Okay, those 4 points might be a quad that could be inside, or definitely it is outside. See, and that goes. And I think this is the thing I should transfer in my experimental engine, the current, if I wanted to make things disappear. But there is another problem. Although it's not very significant. This engine right now, this is on the experiment, this is not the Bizarro. This is working for both triangles and quads. Although we could use it. Because the triangles are four points and the 2 points are close together. Really, at this stage, yeah, okay. It's previously, so you can check the second point without. I think it's possible. I think it's possible. Okay, you know what? F this motherfucker. I forget it's YouTube and I shouldn't be swearing, but I'm not even monetizing my channel. So who cares? We've done it, guys. We've done the motherfucking thing. We've done it. Figured ways to solve the problems. And you have seen all the problems, how much it took me, a lot of aspects of this engine. And also the Bizarro engine a bit, it's based on this engine, but I have altered some things. I think in the Bizarro engine, I don't have triangles structure for surface. I simplified it to simplify the renderer. It's just quads. This object, for example, has triangles. Or maybe I have kept the triangles, I don't remember, but I made a separate duplicated function only with quads for the grid geometry. That is a lot of quads, so I don't check, is it triangle, is it quad, do more things. I wanted to simplify the code in some parts. I still can load the teapot on the Bizarro. So I have to, yeah. And that's it, guys. Looks alright. That's it. See you, and I think I might not do coding videos for now. I might focus on thinking, then come back later when my motivation is low or I want to do something else. Maybe I'll do shorter videos where I show my progress, like in 10-20 minutes or even less. And that's it. That was, anyway.